Okay, we are live. Father Miller here. Welcome back to the Nerd Father. This is our first Saturday stream. We would have done it last week, but as I told Miss Martin, and I don't know if I told Justin, we had the bishop here last weekend for confirmation, one of the sacraments for the kids. And when the bishop comes to the parish, it's a very, very stressful time as you're trying to make sure you got everything ready for him. So we are pushing it to today, and we're going to hopefully have a few others join us. So how are you, Miss Martin?
Hey, I'm doing great. Ready to talk. Good. Missed it last week.
Oh, but that's okay. Got Justin. Good to see you again.
Hi.
So I know PJ wanted to join us, but this is the idea of it is Catholic streaming.
Even the bad ones.
Justin's a convert.
Yeah.
Well, you're a convert too.
Yeah. Hey, we converts, we're the biggest pains in the rear end because we actually know everything.
Yeah. We've been down that dark road and have learned our lessons, and now we're here to educate the masses.
Exactly.
Have not walked down that road.
Yeah. Well, the bishop at another diocese I used to be a part of, every time he would see me, he'd go, "It's the apologist."
But no, I was just going to say, I know Justin and I talked a little bit yesterday, just on the nerd part. Mm-hmm. Disney Plus had their little reveal yesterday, and it looks like garbage.
Yep.
Because I really don't have any, I don't really have any desire to see any of these shows.
I mean, if we had to be optimistic, if I try to be like my wife is a total pessimist and it cracks me up. I'm the optimist. If I look at this, I'm thinking, okay, Agatha was a huge hit in the show. She was, because the show was terrible, her character was great. So they're going with that. I get that. I get that noise. I don't know who's going to be the star of Spider-Man freshman year. I don't know if they're bringing.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't even know who Echo is, and I've been reading Marvel since the 80s. X-Men is the 97, which is, I don't understand that as well, because they were the hottest in the early 90s. 97 was about the time that Marvel was was going bankrupt and had to sell the property to studios to save themselves. Secret Invasion could be great if they're going to pick up from, the Nick Fury's hanging out with the Skrull thing. But then again, in Captain Marvel, they kind of superseded the Secret Invasion because they were already there. So I don't know what's going on with that. Marvel Zombies is something that was successful when they couldn't write anything good. So they're going to run with that too.
Oh boy.
So it's basically, it's a big pile of garbage that it looks like they're reaching for anything they can to make a show out of, to make their streaming service look attractive. And
speaking of piles of garbage, I don't know if you saw the boys did a little parody of it. Here we go. We'll play it. It's a Twitter thing, so hopefully I won't get copyright.
Plus, you.
Father, your DMs.
Greatest content in the world.
What?
Your DMs.
Oh.
The action and the excitement of
I don't really care.
Your DMs are showing
Plus.
Stay informed with reliable news you can count on from people you can trust. Plus.
Never miss a game. 24/7 coverage of your favorite sports teams. Plus.
Programs for women that tell the stories we want to see. Plus.
From urban beats to city streets. Shows that put diverse voices front and center. Plus.
Timeless stories of heroes who may be gone but are never forgotten. Plus.
Plus.
Plus. VOT Plus.
The world's premier super streaming service.
Sign up now.
When did this come out?
Yesterday.
Oh, okay. I'm a fan of The Boys. That show is show's hardcore.
Because yesterday was Disney Plus Day.
Oh, that's right. It was the day where they trolled everybody. The Facebook Star Wars official or whatever it was like Star Wars always is like Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer drops Friday, and it's like that wasn't a trailer. That was a 1.5-minute featurette interview. It wasn't even. They showed some concept art. I personally was hurt.
Oh, I didn't
At this
care.
point, I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, I have 4 children, so if I don't let my wife subscribe to whatever she wants to, I'm in the doghouse. So they get to have Disney Plus. And I know that, I'm a huge Gina fan. I know the big movement was to cancel your Disney Plus when what happened to her, and I get that. But there are things that I want to watch and I don't feel like being the guy who's pirating someone else's membership. So I
Well,
subscribe.
my thing is, I have Hulu, I have BritBox, I have
Netflix.
Amazon. No, I don't have Netflix
We have
anymore.
Amazon, yeah.
So I mean, it's plus I have Dish.
You know, if you get every streaming service, you'll probably twice as much as you would for standard cable. It is we're in that movement now where I think it's fun because we're of that age where we can observe all this and compare the differences to when we were growing up. Is everything is continually changing now, where the normal is the normal for about 5 minutes, and then they move to something else where, you know, now you pay for all your TV, and if you don't want to watch, then you don't want to watch commercials, but now they start throwing commercials into every video that we can see, and it's weird.
Well, the problem with Disney Plus was they didn't have all the older Disney movies.
And
I mean, I wanted to watch Disney movies from the 60s and 70s, the ones that I grew up with.
Oh yeah.
Well, and they're spending so much time apologizing for those movies.
Someone brought in a collection of books that came with a 45 record from back in the day, and one of the Disney books was a Song of the South that had the Briar Rabbit in it, and the entire book was him trying to hide from whoever was chasing him, so he actually made a decoy out of tar in the book, and so they'd be apologizing for that as well today, I think.
Yeah.
Of course, that was pretty bad.
Well, I was going to mention, Justin, asking questions about comics. So I have a bunch of old Disney comics, and like between Disney Presents and Mickey Mouse type stuff that was given to me, are they worth anything?
Oh, what's that old adage? It's only worth what people are willing to give you.
Yeah.
Again,
I mean,
it's not advice I give anybody trying to sell comics is go on eBay, look up the book you're thinking about, look at condition, look at don't look at listings because that's a mess. Look at sold. You know, that'll be your first tell. Did this book sell? How much did it sell for? When did it sell? And I've got Disney books from the 60s, you know, the old Dell or whatever the company was that was doing them originally. And, you know, I've had them on the shelf for $5 and $6 and nobody looks at them. But that's because my market is so streamlined. I have exactly one type of customer in my store, which is kind of easy to shop for. But, you know, a lot of that stuff I throw up online simply because there's a wider market out there. So there is somebody out there who wants your book, but, you know, they're not going to pay through the nose to get it unless it's something really hot.
Well, I was just telling Miss Martin before we went live, I was supposed to come back to Iowa next week, but that is now canceled because I might have the COVID.
Oh no! And you were saying you couldn't get a result for how long?
Well, no, where I'm at, they have to send it away to get tested. They didn't have the rapid on a Saturday morning. They don't have rapid testing available.
Oh, yeah, because we had our Walgreens. You could go and they would like get you the results the next day.
You live in a town of 200,000. I live in an area. The nearest town of 200,000 is about 4 hours away.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. It's always fun to look at maps in the Midwest. You can see exactly where everybody lives because that's where the city is at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Nebraska's got 2 cities.
Doxing.
Well,
wouldn't that be a town?
In any case, I think it's definitely worth driving and all that, Father. You know, it's worth it. We city people sometimes don't know how good we have it. Of course, relatively mid-sized cities. I think living in a very, very big city is a very scary situation right now.
Never do.
Well, I mean, you know, the thing I tell people, I went to seminary in Philadelphia, so I told the kids, you guys don't realize how lucky you are. I mean, your field trips are going to Independence Hall, the Liberty Bell, all the American history. In Iowa, where Justin and I are from, it's like the Hoover Library.
Yeah.
Look, a river.
The bowl of stream.
I mean, the Hoover Library was fun.
Well, yeah, but if we wouldn't have had a president, we would pretty much have nothing political worth visiting.
University of Iowa Natural Field Museum.
That's pretty cool.
Well, you had Captain Kirk statue.
That's true, but that's less than maybe a 30-minute experience.
Yeah, there's the big statue of the ship in the front of the town, and then that's about all I remember when I went through there. I drove through there.
Have you been to the museum down there?
We had a couple fireworks shows that took us beyond that city, so I've never been in the museum, but we've driven through.
Museum's worth it.
I'll check it out sometime.
Yeah.
So I mean, they have some actual relics or props from the show.
Well, that's cool.
A lot of autographs, and it's worth it.
See, I never grew up a big Trek fan. I watched the old show, but it wasn't something that I, got excited.
Oh, it was
for.
always on. It was on
Oh.
KCRG.
Yeah.
As a kid, it was come home at 4 and it was on. Or
Oh, my
it was
dad-
on after 10:30.
My brother and I both got black and white 13-inch television sets for Christmas one year. I guess that was our big gift, and I remember putting it next to my bed. And when I couldn't sleep, I think a PBS or maybe it was KCRG was always running the episodes like late night, like 11:30, 12 o'clock. So I'd click it on and watch some Kurt fall asleep.
Yeah, I
It was
loved
so
it.
exciting.
I used to watch it with my grandmother at around 4 o'clock. It was great. I was about 5 years old and I loved it. The reruns, rather. I wasn't 5 years old when Trek came out.
So I don't know if I talked to you, Miss Martin, since going to Wichita.
Mm-hmm.
But I picked up some Star Trek comics from the 60s down there at a half-price bookstore, and it was pretty good. But the Wichita experience was amazing.
Oh my
for
God.
For those that don't know, I attended the funeral for Father Mel Kaplan, who was a priest that was captured by the North Koreans during the Korean War and died in a POW camp. They identified his bones earlier this year, and they just had the burial about a month ago.
Wow.
So he's up for sainthood right now.
Yay.
So
Yeah, that was really a sweet experience. I watched
it
those
was amazing.
on your YouTubes.
So, but other than that, I don't think there's really much. Oh, we got Father Sinatra is here.
Hey.
Good to see you. I think his mic's off.
Yeah. Father Sinatra's icon is here.
Yes.
It's a good icon.
Good to see the icon. So, Odin said he might pop by. I don't know. It depended
He was up
on
all
maybe.
night last night, so that'd be aces if he shows up.
Well,
he made the whole stream last night. He didn't cut out early for once.
well, they are starting earlier now, I think.
What is that going to do to us? We got to revolt.
Well, I'll start early.
But I don't get off till 2.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Well, then.
Good
Oh,
morning.
now
Hey,
he's
Father.
here.
Hey,
You okay?
I am actually on. I'm on location. Actually,
I'm like you're hiding from somebody.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I'm in Hawaii.
Oh, shit.
You've got
Okay, bye.
Can you hear me?
I think we'll just kick him off.
Yeah.
Must be tough, Father.
Hey, somebody's got to live my life. Might
What
as well
time
be
is it
me.
there?
So I don't. It is 6:13 in the morning.
Oh, that's
So,
not too far away, is it?
Yeah.
So I figured like it's not going to interfere with the vacation plans. So I love being on the show. So I might as well pop on. Woke up early
Yay.
and here I am.
Liturgy of the Hours time.
I
Matins.
swam with sharks yesterday. It was awesome.
Oh, shit.
No, thank you.
Like little
True,
baby
true.
sharks or like, big great white sharks?
Are there other priests with you?
No, like 15-foot long tiger sharks.
No, I meant, are you traveling with other
I'm
priests?
actually. No, I'm actually with some friends. So,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, no priests on this trip, other than
Yeah,
me.
he left his co-workers behind.
That's what vacation's about.
Well, I got to ask you, how's the new priest doing?
Well, he was only there a month. He got transferred to his orders parish in Virginia. I've been on my own since September.
Oh, okay.
Oh, dude. That means you have to do all the work.
So, I mean,
I don't
hey,
know if
hey,
you knew,
know,
Miss.
it's-
Or do you want?
Go ahead.
I don't know if we talked about what happened to your former assistant.
Oh no, I don't know if we did.
I don't think we did.
My former assistant from Uganda unfortunately died in a car accident in mid-July.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. That's terrible. Well, may he rest in peace.
So yeah, it's been. Thank you. 2021 has been awful, and I can't wait for it to end. But it's just been, and he's from Uganda, So it was like trying to get him home. That was his wishes, to be buried at home. And that took a lot. That took a Herculean effort. My staff was fantastic, but it's been stressful with that, and then the festival and everything that went along with it. It's let's just say God has been good. God has been good, but it's been stressful.
The reason I'm muting myself, my
The
grandfather
bishop
clock
fortunately knows what's
decided,
going on.
The clock.
my
agreed.
grandfather clock decided to come alive.
Well, this was a little bit. I put out a tweet last
Oh my
week. A
gosh.
prayer. Oh gosh, a prayer.
Shoot
That
It's my great uncle's clock. No. My great uncle made this clock. It's kind of stopped and started off and on. And if I replace the chime mechanics, it's going to have to be a totally new chime. And I hate that because this is the chime my grandpa had.
Oh yeah, don't change it.
And I don't want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
Don't ever.
Well,
Yeah.
I was saying,
And
Father
don't.
Sinatra, before you came on backstage, that pray for priests. All priests. I put out a prayer that Saint Therese, my favorite Saint Little Flower, wrote about praying for priests. And you guys are human too, and you need prayers, you need support, and things can suck for you as much as it can suck for the rest of us.
Today is also Francis
Well, thank you. I
Xavier
appreciate
Cabrini.
Oh, yay! I love her.
Yep.
Wow.
She buried in Chicago?
Yeah, local saint.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago, right?
No, I thought she was. Oh, I thought she was in a.
I am not
Pennsylvania.
sure. That I do not know.
Or is it Denver?
Where's the saint? Find it now. Well,
Next episode, we're gonna find the saint. Geraldo Rivera
We're
will be
going to look
filming
now.
right after he's done with Capone's
Where's
Vault.
Saint?
New
like,
York.
Where's Waldo?
New York.
New York.
Because I remember when New York's first lady was doing that statue contest that they kind of ignored Cabrini, but they got a transgendered
Oh, well, that's what's important.
icon, supposedly.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you don't remember that?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I blocked it out. After the Holy Father Benedict retired, I kind of didn't pay too much attention to church stuff for a while. It was an upsetting time. I really loved him. I accept the new pope and all that, but I just took a bit of a break.
Here we go.
I miss my German Shepherd.
I got
I
it.
love my German Shepherd.
I do too.
By the way, Cabrini was a tough cookie. She was a tough cookie.
Oh, yeah.
Coming over here.
Yeah, you
from
don't mess
Italy.
with this.
The bishop that had invited her said, we don't have any spot for her, for you guys. So you go back to Italy. And she just knocked on the door and said, hey, I'm supposed to be here. Can you give us this place? And that's how she got her first building. She begged for it. It was fantastic.
So I gotta say, I cannot wait for the new mayor of New York. Let's see. I'm just trying to find.
Is it a good replacement or a normal replacement?
Yeah, it's it's better than what they got now.
Oh, anything's better than the devil.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Shirley
Hired him to stick
Chisholm.
homes, send them to New York. We'll put them in a home and make sure they're gone.
Oh my goodness.
I pull no punches with Cuomo.
Marsha P. Johnson involved with Stonewall. Anyway.
Yeah.
Thankfully, de Blasio's on his way out.
Yeah. Well, yes, well, we've got a lot of saints around. Mother Theodore Guerin in Indiana is a saint for teachers. Yes. You talk about another tough cookie. She was some French lady, man. She just comes in and basically in the middle of a bog and lands like a wrecking ball and starts all the schools and that order. Yay, there she is. I have a statue of her. Yay. Yeah, I got to visit her relics once.
I did too when I was coming back from Philadelphia. So I figured it was a new saint. Let's go visit.
Yay.
A little out of the way, but no, I mean, what is it? So you got Theodore Gwenin in Indiana. Is Solanus Casey beatified yet?
think he's still venerable.
I believe he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought
Father
he was
Benedict
Venerable or
Rochelle was
beatified?
I don't think he's beatified yet. Let me look.
Sinatra.
Yeah. Father Benedict Rochelle was a big
And of course we
advocate
have
for his cause.
We also have a blessed Michael McGivney, Father Michael McGivney, the founder of the Knights of Columbus.
Fulton Sheen, who I will hope to go visit eventually.
Oh yeah. Father, whatever happened to all that scandal about his body?
Well, it's in Peoria now.
Okay. So is it all settled?
The problem was, no, it's not all settled.
Well, the beatification is not settled. The body's back in Peoria where he grew up.
Okay.
Peoria, Illinois, for those wondering.
Yeah,
my wife was there
beatification was postponed a week before it was supposed to happen.
Oh, that's terrible. Everyone loves him. My family's all Protestant, and they think he was everything. They said he was huge when they were growing up.
Well, heck, I played part of him for the rabbi on our stream.
Yeah. I love watching his reruns. He's a good guy. Well, obviously he's a good guy, but we'll see.
Well, he's, many Catholic scholars attribute the golden age of American Catholicism to him. That he's a big reason for it. That he caused hundreds of thousands of people to convert to Catholicism. It was incredible.
Well, and his show won a few Emmys and was higher rated than like Milton Berle at the time.
Yeah.
In fact, Milton Berle on his program, which was an hour-long show, Sheen's was only 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, he would welcome everybody who turned over from Life is Worth Living to watch him.
That's great. Well, it's still inspiring today, and I love the way he's all dramatic. Yeah, and he had a great voice. Boy, those were the good days. Well, and he also inspired a lot of Catholics, kind of reignited their faith and their hope.
I will probably scandalize you on this, but my pastor from back home said he got to go on a retreat Bishop Sheen gave in the 60s, and after a few days, it was like, eh.
Oh. Well, okay. Well, you're not supposed to get the warm and fuzzies, Father.
I know.
Warm and fuzzies are for wimps.
So I'm just checking to see.
But they're necessary in the beginning of the spiritual life. If
that is true.
If nobody got the warm fuzzies, nobody would stick with it. So.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. I've read the Interior Castle. I know.
I just got a text from Lady Gravemaster saying that hubby is still not back, so it's just me with the kiddies. So if you're watching Lady Gravemaster, anytime you want to join, if he gets back in time. So,
yeah.
But I think it would probably be a little bit shorter stream today just because I'm going to go get tested, I think.
Yeah.
Or at least try to.
How you feeling?
I was talking about before we went live. I'm feeling fine. It's just on Tuesday, I got to go out to dinner with parishioner and a few other people that came into town to hunt. And 2 days later, one of the guests came down with the coof, and I called the priest that brought him out here the other day, or this morning. He now has it. I sat next to him for about 2 hours on Tuesday, so I'm waiting to see if I'm going to get it. I mean, physically, it's hard to say. I mean, the OCD in me kind of obsesses. Okay, is this a pain that's a part of the coof, or is it just mental?
Yeah. Well, we're praying for you, Father.
I'll tell you, that mental stuff is no joke.
Oh yeah,
it's no joke.
Well, and the fun thing is, I'm now about 8 hours from mass tonight, and then the 3 masses tomorrow.
So you're going to get a rapid one?
Well, if I do, I have to drive 90 minutes to get it.
Oh, jeez.
Well, you can always do the Midwest solution. It's Campbell's chicken noodle soup and 7-Up.
And
$7.50
you'll be
fine. You'll be fine. You'll be 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and whenever you're getting down, when you're down and out, Saint Benedict Labre, the patron saint of people that are suffering from depression, I pray to that dude all the time. Yeah, and that's who Father Benedict Rochelle named him after. He was the one who told me about him. So, and I'm not saying that everyone's depressed or anything, but when you're feeling a little bit blue, and we're coming up on the holiday blues, coming up, a lot of stress.
Coming up on episode 3 of Doctor Who, that's depressing.
Oh well, yeah, we definitely need to.
That's very depressing.
I just can't even bring myself to look at it, Father, because
don't.
I'll want to jump off.
I stopped watching. I just stopped watching.
I'm just gonna.
Yeah, but after what season, Father?
Well, after
Have you seen any of Jodie's stuff?
I can't think of his name.
Capaldi.
No, the guy before Jodie. What's his name?
Capaldi.
Yeah, Peter Capaldi.
Matt
I
Smith.
haven't even finished his time yet.
No, it was Peter Capaldi. Matt Smith was before Peter.
Before Peter Capaldi. Oh, sorry, I misunderstood him. Sorry. Yeah.
So I haven't finished Peter Capaldi's time as the Doctor. That's how far
I'm still
back I
on
am.
the Family of Blood. I kind of took a break and I haven't gone back for a couple weeks, trying to play catch up. I watched the first episode that she was on, and it felt like a Doctor Who episode for those of us who were not straight up Whoians. But yeah, I had no interest in her character. I felt like it was just nothing. I didn't have any attachment. I didn't have any interest in what she said or did, and was like, eh. Whereas, like the great, who am I watching right now? I can never remember his name. I know exactly who he is, but I can't remember his name. The second Doctor.
David Tennant.
David Tennant. Second newish Doctor. I watch him with intent. He is captivating to watch, and he plays that part so well for those of us who are, being new to the experience. But she was just so, bland. Like I didn't understand what the big fuss was about.
Tenet is what made it popular in America. It was his version of the Doctor that really made it explode over here.
Maybe it's because he was very over the top. His personality was very. I mean, if you compared him to, I'm gonna go to my grave not remembering anybody's name. The first one, the one right before him, Eccleston.
Yeah.
No,
he was okay, but
Tenet
Tenet was better. And, it was like, okay, Eccleston did a pretty good job of getting people to take a look at the show. And then Tenet seemed like, wow, this guy's really the Doctor. And he's
the thing with Tenet is he's on par with the great Tom Baker.
Okay. Baker was the favorite. Is Baker the
Baker
one that was in
Baker
Dungeons and Dragons?
was in the 70s, and he was the Doctor for almost 7 years.
Yeah. Now, was he the one that showed up in Dungeons and Dragons, that movie?
I don't know.
There was a doctor who was he was like king of the elves when they were escaping peril. Watch that movie. It's wonderful.
Sylvester McCoy, the 7th Doctor, was in The Hobbit.
Who did he play in The Hobbit?
Raggard,
the
one of
Brown Wizard.
Which one is it?
The Brown Wizard, right?
Oh, okay.
Radagast the Brown.
Radagast.
Yeah. Well, David Tennant, he had a lot of charisma. He was a little bit younger, and he was kind of good looking. That didn't hurt. He was also in Harry Potter, and my clientele at the time, which was more middle school, they got really into it. They just liked him.
It was Tom Baker that did a guest appearance in Dungeons and Dragons. He was Hallvarth, and again, that movie was terrible and it was great all at the same time.
Now, Tom Baker was also in one of the British horror movies in the 70s that was pretty good. I think it's The House That Dripped Blood.
Hey, by the way, did you ever see, speaking of Dungeons and Dragons, did you see the second movie that was a straight DVD release?
Is that the one with Chris Pine? Because I saw there was a credit for that, but I didn't see what year that come out. Oh, that's not till 23.
I don't know. Was that him?
Well, no. So
No. There was one that followed.
I'm looking at the thing right now. There's nothing that I can see in the IMDb that says there's Dungeons and Dragons: Wrath of the Dragon God 2005. But
that's the one.
That's the one.
That is fantastic.
Is it? Okay, I'll have to watch
That's fantastic. Oh my gosh! Like if you are a hardcore D&D guy, like I am.
Well, that looks really good. I'm looking at like a trailer.
That's what the first movie should have been.
Bruce Payne.
That's what the first movie should have been. The Wrath of the Dragon.
Bunch of people I don't know, which means it's probably pretty good. I love when you get a cast of nobody you recognize. Then you can really dive into the story. Like, I've said this before about not to jump subjects on movies, but like when Will Smith does a movie, I don't see the character he's playing. I see Will Smith. And I think that kind of ruins a movie. So when he a lot of movies you'll see an actor in it, like, oh, they're in this movie. Then, some of them, they pull you out of this experience, because I like to deep dive into a movie and really enjoy the story. But if I'm being distracted by a character who acts like he does in every movie or she does in every movie, I appreciate having a cast of people I don't recognize.
Okay, here we go.
But the Wrath of the Dragon God is definitely worth watching.
I will check that out.
Definitely worth watching.
Yeah.
From this old D&D head.
I played a bit of D&D. I missed the boat on everything that was awesome about nerds, and I got in late.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Well,
my goodness.
He's awake.
Hello. Well, it's more so babies asleep. So that's
Babies asleep. Nice.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well, Father.
So I was just telling everybody I'm in sick watch.
Sick
as
watch.
I've been exposed to the coof.
Oh no. Too bad you have a 99.9999999% chance.
Oh, I'll recover. But the question is, as I told you, my parish is a lot of elderly people. So the last thing I want to do is be the bearer of death.
Ours is that way too. Holy Family is definitely of the older variety of parishioners.
So
as long as their spiritual life is being provided for, that's the most important thing of all. Because
I don't know if it's funny or if it's inappropriate, but I know that when we did our first confessional, the people who did our classes, they went with us and talked to us before we got in line for confessional, and I didn't know how to take this because I am a comedian at heart. My saint is Saint Lawrence, I believe, was the patron saint of comedians, He said, he said, "Do you notice why that everybody here is much older?" And I just innocently said, "Yeah." He says, "Because they're preparing. They want to make sure they get in," or something like that. And I was like, I don't know how to take that. That's hilarious, but also really bad at the same time.
Hey, you should. But we could all die any day. I could walk out the door and get hit by a bus. So you should always be ready.
Very
real.
It's
the gospel this weekend.
Yeah. I think that's actually, it's almost inspiring because it's a reminder, right? Memento mori, like, we should always be reminded of death, and we should always treat every single day. Like, that's why we should try to go to confession as often as we possibly can to receive the sacraments. And that's why, like, as Father was saying, as long as they're getting those spiritual graces, that's the most important thing. Because let's say, something does happen. Hey, if they've been spiritually fed, that's the most important thing in this life, is to prepare for the spiritual realm. And we, I think, in general, even beyond this year, have focused too much on the material world and not as much on the spiritual realm.
See, what I usually tell people, and sometimes it depends on the type of funeral I have, the Lord says he will come like a thief in the night, but sometimes the thief is noisy as he's breaking in. So sometimes, not always, but sometimes you have that chance to know your time is coming, to be prepared.
Yeah.
But you don't know if that's going to happen, so.
No,
absolutely.
And that's why I would ask for...
That's a great line. I am definitely stealing that.
Yeah.
Yay! Homily tomorrow, Father.
And I would ask for everyone on here and watching to also pray. There was a high school student, not at my high school, but they had friends who actually died tragically in a car crash. So kind of going into, right, how we, there are people that have some knowledge, right, some kind of time to prepare, like there's almost like this time, as you said, coming noisy into the night, as it were, but then at the same time, there are those other moments where it could happen at any time. And so that's why you should always be ready, always be prepared. And so take advantage of the sacraments, especially.
So this, you'll probably appreciate this. So one of our priests that was just ordained like 3 years ago is a widower. So he will have received all 7 sacraments by the end of his life.
Yeah, it's the number one question that a lot of students like to ask, because they that's how students in high school think. They're like, okay, but how can I check off? Can anyone like check off all 7 on the list? It's like, yeah, yes, technically they can, but
you gotta hope your wife dies.
Exactly.
Not necessarily though, because one of my last parish, he's now a priest for a different diocese, but he's a convert.
Yeah,
and he's ordained a priest for that diocese.
Well, also,
and he's still married.
Yeah, well, permanent
pastoral provision.
Yeah, permanent diaconate. It's a degree of holy orders. So,
that's true. One of the 3 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. So there you go. Tell him to become a deacon. So I'll tell you what about deacons' wives. Pray for deacons' wives, and a few of them priest wives. I know loads of priest wives being a convert. I'll tell you what, it's no fun. I am totally for all celibacy because it is not
Well,
fun being married to a priest.
You know, the thing I tell people, it's like you want to have married priests, you better be ready to cough up more in the collection plate because Johnny needs braces and Timmy wrecked the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in college.
So,
Yeah, I think also holding our bishops more accountable to the money being spent and where our money goes, I think is another key thing. I think the best thing that any parish priest, pastor especially, can do is be transparent of here's where the money is going. Because I think when you have that, okay, if when you donate on the first or second collection, like this is what's going towards, that is going to have a much bigger motivation. Because if it's kind of left to be oblique, or if you are under a diocese where your bishop has some questionable standards, it's a question of, okay, well, if I give money to my parish, obviously I want to help my parish, but will that by extension help a bishop who could potentially be a wolf in sheep's clothing? So it's yeah, transparency is a big thing.
And it kind of goes back to what I said earlier before you came on, Odin. Pray for priests, everyone,
Amen.
Every day. Pray for priests, pray for your bishop, and pray for our Holy Father.
Absolutely.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Our diocese has internal auditors, and we have all of our financials on the same program, so that the diocese reviews our finances every month. So whenever anything questionable or out of the ordinary pops up, we have internal controls that are able to say, why, like, you didn't spend this last year or even last month, why are you spending it now? So they ask questions, which I think is good. So
Father, if you buy too many comics, do you get worried?
No, because that never goes in the parish books.
That's true. I know, I'm teasing. Yeah, it's like all of a sudden, throw all those Batman comics on your shelf, sir.
Yeah.
What's this treasure chest in the corner
Can
here?
you miscellaneous expenses? What are these things?
Paper. They're paper. Paper for the office.
It was the 50th anniversary commemorative edition.
I had to buy all the covers.
It's like Friday Night Tights last night. We were watching this video with Mark Zuckerberg. It's like, oh, I see that sweet baby Ray's in the back. I know how much that cost.
That was ridiculous. I can't believe he puts himself on camera doing. He really does look like a robot, and then, like the clones in the background, like he made friends, like literally made friends, like in a lab.
Now, to be fair, the way the video is edited is clearly meant to convey more. Like, there's one where it's great because it kind of leads from one awkward pause to the other, and so you kind of just feel the awkwardness. But editing can be a very powerful tool.
So I didn't get to see all of Friday Night Tights because we had high school playoffs. And Justin, we lost, so we're not going to state.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That wasn't even the discussion for us. So we had a rough season, so that wasn't even on our.
But when I did turn on, it was about the time you were getting the rosary beads out.
Oh yeah, I remember when you came into the chat. I was just Father. I was like, oh my goodness, this is a time for you.
I don't know if you knew, but I got to be on Lady Gravemaster stream with Ryan, Ass, and Jeremy, and that was fun. And now I know what you feel like.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's like Friar Tuck hanging out with Robin Hood and all those thieves. Having to say, I'm here. I got
That's why I literally keep my rosary right in front of me.
Some representation. Someone has to be here to keep the scoundrels in line.
Yeah, Mama Mary's there to help.
Rugged Rosary.
Yay, Rugged Rosaries.
Yeah, I have one up. It's the it's not a Rugged Rosary, but it's a Saint Benedict's Rosary, and it's
this
just
has the
heavy duty and every. Well, no, I'm not saying it doesn't, but like it's one where I love. I have it in my pocket during school, especially during the winter months because I keep it in my jacket, and it's just every time I'm just like.
See, what was nice with this is I got to touch this against the coffin of Father Capon. When we went to his funeral, because we got to take part in the burial, so that he's entombed in the cathedral in Wichita, and that part was not public. So the family and the priests that were there got to take part in the entombment. And as we're leaving, the coffin is in the entomb, and we got to touch it and pray right at his casket right before they put the panel on.
Wow!
So I rubbed my rosary up against it. So now it's third-class relic, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, the rules on third-class relics it's tough because it's supposed to, it's like it's the way it's worded makes it seem like it has to actually make contact with the other relic directly. But then there's some that say, oh, but it counts if you do. And obviously that's kind of losing. It's I use this expression a lot with my kids. It's missing the forest for the trees. Where it's the important thing is that you're creating in this way like the spiritual connection to this individual. And
now that said, I want to say there should be a special place in purgatory for groups that send miraculous medals and rosaries asking for money, because I don't want them. And when you're trying to take the rosary off the little sticky thing, the chain breaks.
Yes, so they're always cheap chains. It's ridiculous.
Cheap.
Yeah.
I just had Odin was just painting the picture of father standing in line, looking around, make sure I was lifting up the lid and rubbing the rose. Sneaking away. I was like, that's terrible.
That's one way to get into the evening news. No, I have a little flower rugged rosary that's gorgeous because they have like a ladies line, like with all sorts of really girly rugged rosaries. It's gorgeous. Yeah. Is it close enough, Father, that I just like spent so much time just running around and being around all the places Saint Therese was? So I'm like, can I get it through osmosis? I love the little flowers so much.
I can't remember. Is she incorrupt?
No, she's not.
No. Her tuberculosis pretty much ravaged her body.
Yeah. Well, but even after death, sometimes they can like miraculously be preserved. But no, she's not. But of course, there's her tomb, and at the convent, her clothes and her breviary and her little shoes, and it's just so spiritual and so beautiful.
And wasn't there a piece of her leg that went on tour?
Oh yes, it did go on tour. It came on tour in America. Yeah, it was like.
Did you actually get to see the leg?
Well, it was part of her feet.
No. It's in a case. It's in a jewel case.
The reliquary. Yeah.
Reliquary. Yeah.
And I got to visit her parents' relics too, because they've been declared saints. I got to see them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so,
we have.
It came to St. Charles. The relic came to St. Charles when I was in the seminary.
Oh.
So we were able to.
So was she a saint when her remains are now relics of the church? I'm still learning.
Well, no, yeah. To be a relic, you got to be a saint. Are you talking about the little flower?
Talking about the leg that was making the rounds, apparently.
So,
she was canonized almost 100 years ago.
Okay. So
okay. 1925.
So this is the heart of John Vianney. He came to our cathedral a few years ago, and I got to go pray before it.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, I know Saint Meinrad has it's a monastery, and I think it's a seminary as well. And we before the coup, we were able to take students who were interested in vocations up there, and in there they have a small reliquary, and it's actually, I think it's a bit of bone of St. Thomas Aquinas, who is a saint that I'm obviously incredibly connected with, because that's how my mind works. It's just very methodical, very just by the book, by the numbers, as it were. So I was able to touch a couple of my rosaries up against with that. So obviously it's one of those things where it's like, okay, spiritual connection, but
yeah. I got to see St. Vincent de Paul's incorrupt body. That was cool.
Nice.
It was nice. And then like almost across the street is St. Catherine Labouré there in Paris. We got to take a tour sometime. Yeah.
If you ever come to Chattanooga, our basilica. So our basilica actually similar to that. We have two side altars that are reliquary. Like we have countless numbers of relics from various saints, including I think we even have some relics of maybe a couple of the apostles as well. Like it's a very broad collection. It's pretty amazing.
Well, this is St. Anthony's Chapel in Pittsburgh. It's the largest collection of relics outside of the Vatican. There's like 5,000 of them. And they do have the apostles. They got some of the Old Testament.
I had the heart of Padre Pio come to my parish.
Nice. Oh my
God! Well, you have the Padre Pio shrine.
Since it's
Yeah.
Yes, I do. So when the heart came to America, we made sure that it came to our place. It was fantastic. We had 75,000 people in one day visit it.
Wow.
Hey, speaking of this kind of miraculous stuff, Father, didn't the blood liquefy?
No, I'm sorry, not 75. I'm sorry. It was 7,500. That's my bad.
7,500. Okay, so people love your parents.
It's still early.
Yeah, but you
I
know what
think
I'm
there's
talking about? Didn't
Saint-
the blood liquefied recently?
Januarius?
Yeah, it did.
Yes. And
Wasn't it
is
like the second
normal?
time in a year? Like, because it wasn't like off where it didn't liquefy 1 year or it like liquefied twice, which was odd or something to that effect.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because I don't think it was supposed to liquefy. It sounds weird, but it's like it's off its schedule, or rather,
Well,
there you go.
because it's the
Ladies
body-
know all about that.
Yeah.
I got
Oh,
full.
oh, wait!
There's the
I
joke.
can't
Hey.
believe you said that. How
Yep.
dare you, sir?
Took me
I
a
got-
second,
I got
and then
4
I was
girls
like,
in my house.
oh my goodness, he went there anyway.
Okay.
I guess I'm glad I missed it, whatever it was.
Yes, Father, you are very glad you missed it.
Yeah,
And
it was
don't
that
give him
bad.
Do
There's
not
something
rewind the
absolution.
stream, Father. Do not.
He does
Where's
not
the-
deserve forgiveness or absolution.
Where's the
for
shame,
that.
shame,
Okay,
shame up
yes, we'll get the. Let's
Get it.
see.
All I
This,
can say right now is shame, 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 shame.
Yes,
that's my
he
new
deserved it.
thing.
He deserved
That's
it.
my new little profanities are uttered on my
yes.
stream.
That's
That gets
great.
played.
Luckily, it wasn't profanity. It was just it
Yes.
was an off
Apparently very
kilter.
disrespectful.
It
I
was-
apologize.
It was earthy.
Yes.
Well, you grow up in a house with 4 women, and the filters just come off around here. It's weird.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Try being the son
Yeah,
of an OBGYN.
Oh, Father, stop this. They're being sinful.
I'm
So,
not. I am stating a fact.
I'm pretty sure God likes jokes.
And I'm pretty sure God likes facts because they're based in truth.
well, heck, how much
what is it?
water did Jesus turned into wine? I mean, it wasn't just a bottle or two. I mean, he turned gallons
Dagger.
and gallons of water into wine.
That was
Yes.
a party.
But did he drink much of it?
Of course
one
he didn't.
knows.
He only drank grapefruit juice. Or
Oh,
I mean
dear.
grape juice.
Well, back then it was either the wine or the water, and nobody wants to drink the water.
Not
Yeah.
very
Back then.
clean.
Not the one that
So,
they'd all been washing.
Not a lot of mountain springs in the desert regions.
Eh.
Well, not a lot
So-
of water.
So I got to
Maybe a little
ask,
bit.
what is this with Friday Night Tights with an earlier start?
Yeah, basically it's a good thing in the long run. So because Gary is now out, I don't know if he's officially out
He's
of
left the
Cali,
valley.
or if he's like settled now. But basically, now that he has come to a land of freedom that is the state of Texas, he is now going to be able to focus more so on getting things more organized, Father. Meaning, meaning that we're going to get very close to having an actual start time, a hard start time.
Yes.
So we got close to it. Apparently,
Well done.
because I'm delayed because of baby boy's new sleep schedule. But it's going to be right now. I think it's like 4:30 ish
Okay.
is right now where it is Eastern, and the goal is at some point to have be 4:30 hard start, and then have the show go for initially I think 3 to 4 hours, and then I think at some
okay.
point he wants it to be about no more than 2.5 3 hours. Like basically we're streamlining it a little bit more. And it just allows for more consistency. Audiences obviously being able to actually, as both of us know, because I know, Father, you do the pre-stream stream, and sometimes you're messaging me saying, "What's going on?" And I'm usually like,
Yeah.
"Father, I have no idea because I don't have the link yet either." So
Doesn't Gary know?
I figured
Doesn't
Gary
he
in the
know?
background.
We have a
The way
show
I always-
stir.
yeah,
They need
way
to
I
have
was
a
thinking
nun
we're
sitting there
close.
keeping them on schedule.
yeah. Well, I think
Why
Busy
that's
entertaining the others
Yeah,
while
no.
waiting.
that was the
Well,
one
whenever
announcement.
you're in the chat, I figure you're close to starting.
Oh
because
yeah.
you're not in-
Normally when I come in, it's when I'm actually in the call, and that's when I
Okay.
get into the live chat typically. So that way people have an idea. Okay, at least the call started. Let's see. But yeah, everything's looking to be streamlined. That's why he made this announcement last night. A couple announcements right about trying to with the schedule, and obviously with Chrissy Mara being a full-time member on the panel as well, and then
He's a
also there's
wonderful addition.
there's
I like
there's
her.
plans to have like an actual like studio in Texas, and obviously Geeks and Gamers, right? Plans for Orlando. So there's a lot of really cool stuff happening where it will be able to have people like in the same place, same time, and then also have a bit of a rotation. So because me and comics tend to be comics because of just work, right, has his own delayed start. And then for me now, I have a delayed start, so I can't start any earlier than 6 p.m. We'll probably end up being in a rotating spot just to make sure that we don't have too many people on. And so, yeah, things are just getting a little bit more streamlined. So
That would be better, yeah, because sometimes it can get a little too crowded.
Yeah. So we're going in the right direction, I believe.
And it's
I just got an email.
Yes, exactly.
Kind of a depressing email here. If you could keep one of my priest brothers, he's actually about 20 years younger than me. He's in the hospital with the coof.
Oh, no.
And the email says his lungs are not working, so he could be in for 1 to 4 weeks, depending on how the treatment is.
Oh, no.
So he was at my neighboring parish before he got moved to the big city.
No, that's why they lost a lot of people early on when the coup happened.
Yeah.
Was they didn't understand how it was affecting people, and they started doing it with the respiratory responses were actually damaging people in the beginning.
The machines, was it the stuff that they were complaining that we didn't have enough of in the very beginning.
Ventilators,
right? And so ventilators, they were using them too often, I think, and in certain cases they shouldn't have, because, as you said, it was actually doing more damage and causing more death. So the main question that I have, Father, there for your friend is it a place where they are allowing priests in to offer sacraments?
I really don't know. I just got the email like 30 seconds ago. I just saw it come up. I will say the one thing. I have a parishioner that's in the hospital, and she's about 2.5 hours from here. I talked to the priest up in this area. They're not letting anybody in unless they're dying. Unless they're dying. But, and I agree with this. As the priest up there said, them to the Catholic hospital, because they're letting the priests come into the Catholic hospital.
Yeah. Well, Father,
but it's like I've been trying to tell this.
Yeah.
Well, I've been telling this person, it's like, let me know if I can anoint her. I've been trying to get her anointed a few weeks now and never heard back. It's like, well, now she's in the hospital. I can't do anything. It's like, I wanted to do this weeks ago.
I have an out for you. You just said that their stipulation is that you have to be dying. Okay, we're all dying.
Well, we're all
in the state of dying, and so therefore, I think whoever's up there should go right up to the person and say, "Okay, yeah, I'm in the state of dying. I don't know how much time I have left, but I'm in the state of dying. Please let me go in there so I can actually, take care of the most important aspect of this."
Yeah.
The thing that I'm trying to figure out is how to do the anointing, because we were told, and I anointed somebody with the coof about a year ago. I had to use the Q-tip to dip into the holy oil, because it's an instrumental, and then you burn the Q-tip with all the other stuff with it.
Okay.
But the thing is, I can't keep dipping my finger into the holy oil, then anoint, and then dip again and anoint the next person unless I purify.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, we're just after voting on
into the oil.
Well, a Q-tip, just one Q-tip for the one person. I don't know if you do a different Q-tip for everybody. Then
you have to have a big basket of them and
you
just collect them over.
A different Q-tip for everybody, and you put it. Our directive is where the sharps contain with the medical waste container, because it gets burned. So
one thing
it's that those things get incinerated.
One thing you could do also is, obviously it would take a little bit of time, but have these, how we obviously have the picks for holding, individual Eucharist. Maybe there is a way to have something similar for like individual, like single use oil, essentially.
Yeah, but the only thing you would do on that, my first thoughts is have a bunch of cotton balls and maybe just pour a little bit of oil and then kind of spread it over each one of them.
Yeah, because the other way around that too would be if you were to, I guess, again, I don't know what the rule on this would be necessarily, but sanitize the area, because then you can, at that point, because as far as, everything that we know about this would indicate that it's already a very small chance of transfer happening from the forehead of the person, but also that would, make it even less.
When in doubt, ask the teacher. We know how to organize these kinds
Father
of things.
Sinatra could probably affirm
and we know
this
how to
too.
get them all in line, too.
Yeah.
Father Sinatra probably could affirm. We were told if we were to go into a night with somebody with COVID, we're supposed to make a photocopy of the rite, because if we bring the book, anything that goes into the room would be burned. So you have to make photocopies of the rite.
Wait, why would the book have to be burned?
These rules are really
strange. If it comes into the room with COVID.
It's not this is not the bubonic plague.
This is at the beginning. Oh,
okay, so not now.
I was
okay.
Say,
I was like, now. I was like, Father.
This was in the beginning. This was in the beginning when everything was unknown.
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
You
you
have
didn't
me
know
worried
it
there,
It
was
seemed a
Father.
little extreme. Like,
anything-
I was about to be like,
Burn down
Father, who is your
I'm not
bishop? I'm going to
Battles
call
TV.
them up right now and say, what are you doing?
Burn down the parking garage. Blow up your car. What the heck is this?
one guy outside with a flamethrower. I got this.
So, but we didn't know. We didn't know what was going on. So they're like, anything that comes in can't come out except for you. You know, that kind of thing. Like when I would go to the hospital a couple times very early on, and the whole thing that they, but because Jersey at one point was radioactive, but when our numbers got a little bit more reasonable, and they were allowing the priests to come in for danger of death. That you were, you came in, they suited you up, not ridiculously, but you did what you had to do. You came home, and the moment you came home, you're like you had to come in with photocopy and whatever, and then when you went home, you stripped down, you threw all your stuff in the wash, you got changed, you took a shower, it's like. It was because you just didn't know. You didn't know at that point. So, I anointed my. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. You anointed.
I anointed my cook who died from it. But it had been long enough that she was no longer contagious, or the contagious was super duper low. So I was able to go into her room and perform the rite as normal. And that was in February. So.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm kind of hoping I am positive just because I want to get it done with.
Oh, I think I've had it twice.
Yeah, it is like the sword of Damocles hanging over your head. I know that feeling very well. So,
has anybody here tested for antibodies just to make sure that you've had it and you've passed it? I did it at a Hy-Vee grocery store at their pharmacy, and I got the results back in a couple hours. And they said, "Yeah, you have all the different antibodies." So our family had it. I want to say January of this year. We were for sure all kind of sick for 3 days. And then most of us got tested. And my wife and I and my oldest daughter, who plays basketball in college, we all had the antibodies. So, and I've spoken to one of my friends who was in the medical professional, and we're not doctors in any way whatsoever. And none of our advice is true medical advice. But he told me that if you have the antibodies, it's a good idea to get just the booster because it's a lower dose of the vaccine, according to him and what he said. And he said that is the strongest way to handle the situation. He says it's about all you can really do, for those who have had it and have the antibodies. He still recommends the booster.
So, moving on.
Let's talk about new behavior in comic books while we're at it today.
Yeah.
So,
burn your comic books.
I have not seen the Eternals, and I don't intend to.
So, moving on.
Mostly because I can't drink in the theater.
Oh.
Although I did sneak a little bottle in for James Bond.
Wait,
oh my goodness gracious!
To numb the pain.
Oh, wait, the theater you go to doesn't have a bar attached.
Ours has a bar.
Yeah.
A lot of theaters have bars now.
Oh, then I've sent you pictures of being the only one in the theater for like a movie. It's not hard to sneak stuff in.
Yeah.
No.
I'm beyond sneaking candy, and I'll just
usually
sneak
bars
booze
at
in.
most.
Yeah,
most
right
theaters
before
have bars
COVID
now.
hit, they redid our entire theater.
No, you have to go to the big city for that.
Yeah, it's everything.
Well, even then, I'm not going to pay $9 for a drink.
No.
Yeah.
Because
I was at my daughter's basketball game. Oh, sorry.
So
I
you're
was
gonna break
at my daughter's
the law.
basketball game, and we bought a tub of popcorn because it was
moral
only
law.
$2. It's cheap.
It's not a moral law.
But our civil law is expected to be followed.
Yes, but
Only
there are
fair
civil laws that go against the moral law. Exactly.
Is
Like popcorn?
not having is that against the moral law in some way?
Having popcorn.
I'm a canon
sneaking
lawyer,
in.
not a moral theologian.
According to
Excellent
canon
answer,
law.
sir. Excellent answer.
Yes, well played. Well played.
Definitely a lawyer with that answer.
If it means I burn in purgatory for 5 more minutes, so be
Hey,
it.
maybe do you have Father Sinatra? Do you have any insight on copyright and intellectual property law? I had a discussion with because I'm in the comic world, and everybody who knows anything about the comic world knows that at comic shows there'll be thousands of artists drawing everybody's on intellectual properties and selling them for money. And we had a long discussion with someone who's convinced that there was no legal recourse. And I was like, yes, there is. It's just that nobody bothers to prosecute because you would have to prosecute everybody who ever did it to be able to get your case to stand up in court.
Well, I will have to say that I think it depends. It depends. A dipende, as we would say in Italian. Like, just like you, like, all right. So, you're a musician, right? And you're not a bad musician. And you do a gig at a bar or a restaurant because they bring you in to play music. You play a song, right? That's written and owned by someone else. Now, are there places like BMI and ASCAP and things like that? But if you do your version of that song, right, there is some protection for you. Like, so you go on YouTube, right, and you go on and you play a cover of something, right? You're not going to get banned for it because it's not exactly the song, nor is it the quality of the song that gets played, right? That's how, I don't know if that's how people get around it, but that's what I assumed that it was. So
I
if
would
you
assume
have
that
someone,
basically when you make money off of something, that's when you get in trouble because you have now profited off of someone else's work.
I
No,
would,
not
I would,
necessarily.
okay.
No, not necessarily, though. You can be in violation without making money off of it.
So Bob, the artist, goes to a show. He draws a picture of Spider-Man, and then he sells it to somebody for $50.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, Marvel would have the legal recourse to take them to court for recreating their intellectual property and selling it because it's copyrighted.
Right.
But they
Yes.
would never do it, I assume, because for their court case to stand up and for that person to be prosecuted properly, they would have to then charge everybody who ever did that to have any kind of, like, that's why Lucasfilm always, everybody who works for Lucasfilm, if you create anything working for the company, you have to, the original has to be sold to Lucasfilm before you can actually sell it to the general public. And if you want to lower your price after they don't want to buy it, if you want to lower your price to sell it to a fan, you have to go back to Lucasfilm and you have to approach them again and say, look, I'm lowering the price to $4,500. Do you want it now? And then they have to refuse it before you can sell it. And that was our basic argument, was that you can go ahead and draw a picture of Spider-Man and sell it to somebody at a show, and there's nothing that Marvel can do to keep you from doing that legally. And I was like, no, I think they can, but they just choose not to because they would never win in court.
Well, I mean, you look at how many people have done the Calvin peeing on an icon.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but Bill Watterson is big time on that. Even though he's not in the biz, quote unquote, anymore, he made sure vigorously that things like that were prosecuted as best they could because he didn't want Calvin and Hobbes. No, it hasn't stopped it, but he goes after those folks all the time. All the time.
Yeah, because he has to protect his copyright. He has to show that he's protecting it, right? That's the reason they keep going after anybody who reproduces what they work on. Well,
I don't know. He's a very, like, if you've ever read his stuff, he's a purist of the highest order, and a true artist in terms of that type of mentality. Like, I only want, if I'm not gonna. That's why he didn't put that much merchandise out. He's like, I am not going to dilute my product.
Yeah.
And
you know, he's actually been doing comic covers. Very, very rare, but you'll see one that he does that's in that style, and it looks beautiful.
Wow, that's pretty.
They
cool.
did the Pearls Before Swine crossover about a year or two ago.
Mm-hmm. The only other thing is, the only people who are vigorous like that about their copyright is the mouse. The mouse is huge.
No.
Like, you do not cross the mouse. The mouse will get you. Like,
well, see, that was always
they'll find you anywhere.
You have to protect it. You have to protect it to enforce it. If you don't, you don't protect it with everybody who does it, then you have no recourse to say, Bob over there is drawing my picture. I know I let these 50 people do it, but he can't do it. And in a court of law, they'd be like, well, you have to prosecute everybody. You can't just pick one or two.
Right. And it's like, oh, I love the mouse. The mouse is awesome. Don't. The mouse might be pretty and cool, and you might enjoy it, but you do not cross the mouse. The mouse will get you.
I don't know if you can see what
they'll give you
Father
a
Miller
cease
just
and
put up.
desist.
Yeah,
there we go. Cease and desist. Here we are.
Cease and desist. How to draw a cat. Start with a circle.
Well, this was also the other thing I was going to show. I don't know if you've seen this one going around.
Oh no!
That guy, I tell you what, that poor kid. I was listening to Crowder today because I know Quarter Garrett's on there, and my wife turned me on to Crowder. I was like, oh my God, Quarter Black Garrett's on Crowder. So now I listen to him all the time, and he's right. All those people need to pay this kid. He needs to sue every single person. President of the United States, put him on court, put him in trial. I mean, this poor kid's life was destroyed, and he was basically called everything for doing nothing but helping people and protecting his own life.
Well,
when
and
he
look
had
at
his panic attack, I felt so horrible.
Oh yeah, you know, I felt awkward, and I knew when I felt awkward watching that it wasn't fake.
Oh no, that was not fake. Well, Crowder himself said, if that was fake, then this child needs
Academy
an Academy Award.
Yep, and you'll remember where you were when you saw that. I remember I was listening to him when I saw that. Yeah.
Well, and I know it was mentioned on Friday Night Tights, but I've been watching the Rakita stream. And that's been pretty good. I mean, seriously, I never thought I would enjoy watching a trial, but I mean, they made it fun.
Yeah, they that's the group that and you guys were talking about it last night. That's all lawyers that do that stream. That's fantastic. I just can't believe this kid was kicked off of GoFundMe trying to raise money to help his legal defense, and they just booted him off.
Now I'll take the collar out for this one. I will say it's off. I will say I did like the name they gave one of the lawyers, Fatlock.
Oh no, and I know the one you're talking about.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, my last name is Whitlock. I hope that's not his last name.
No. I don't know, but it's a play on Matlock.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah.
But this guy is not thin.
Heavier set gentleman, and as a heavier set gentleman, I believe we're allowed to make fun of other heavy set gentlemen. Father Miller, yes.
Yeah. Well, he's the one who face palmed.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And he's like, well, I only shot him. I mean, he only shot me when I
raised my gun.
I raised the gun right to his head. Was about.
Oh yeah,
to
I
pull
saw.
the trigger.
I did see that.
And then he shot me. Okay.
See if I can bring up the article that was from this morning, because he is already contradicting himself now.
Yep, on the media. Then again, he's not under oath on the media, but it does bring up some questions. This whole thing, it just has me concerned, just because I'm afraid that outside pressure is going to have an impact on jury's conclusions.
It shouldn't, though. They should allow people to react the way they're going to react and not feel responsible for the actions of other people. That's a big part of what I believe. Like with the OJ trial years ago, he got off. Why? He got off because people were afraid of what was going to happen. I'm like, that's not how the law works. That's not how justice is supposed to work.
Messed that up. That prosecution.
Yeah, they did.
That too. Yes, that too.
So I'm supposed to do a stream on Monday morning with the rabbi during the closing arguments.
Oh my!
It's like I want to watch that.
But it's just amazing to watch. We're all old enough to know now. We're not young. We don't know. We know how things work in the real world for the most part, I would assume. And watching what they did to this kid for the purposes of doing it to him, making him out to be whatever they wanted him. They wanted a villain, so they tried to create one. And this kid is about as righteous as it gets for an individual being, demonized. And there's nothing they can do to stop that truth. That's the truth. This kid is a good kid, from what I can see. Yeah. What do you do when you've been caught trying to turn this kid into the devil? White supremacist, and he went out there to kill people. And it's like, you're wrong. You lied. You made that up. Where's your penance? Where's your comeuppance?
They don't get the comeuppance because the world always wins. It's a
well, that's in the life that is to come. That's in the life.
Yeah, the life.
It's the life that is in the life that is to come. Because what happens is when you when you accidentally or intentionally burn a house down, but it's the wrong thing to do. You say, sorry, I burnt your house down, and you could be sincere, but you can't rebuild the house. It's already burnt down to the ground. What were you supposed to do?
The damage is done. Yeah.
So that's always, the damage is already done for this poor kid.
But see, that's what I feel the responsibility needs to take over. These people that do these things need to be held accountable. They need to be disciplined for the wrongdoings. Forgiveness.
Well, look at the Covington kids.
Yeah.
I think it'll happen. I mean, the Covington kids sued.
Yep.
Yeah.
They made money from it.
But that was
rightly
a few
so.
years ago,
Rightly
Father.
so.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but that was a few years ago, Father, when there still was a little bit of freedom. We're not sure.
I'll be honest.
We're
At
not sure
first,
now.
I thought the kid was guilty as sin, but then you see the full context, and that was the thing. We only got to see what the media showed you. You didn't get to see the full context.
And then the FBI was sitting on footage, apparently, that they found at a later date. And
that's why anytime any case, anything gets brought up, you should never rule on it. You should never bring any conclusions until you have either a complete video or until an actual trial takes place, because we live in an age, and it's very clear now, where the media cannot be trusted to provide full context, and they will decide a case before it's even gone through. And I think that that's already impacted one major case this year. I firmly believe it had an impact on that case, and I would not be surprised if it has an impact on this one, unfortunately.
We have a child, technically pretty much a child. He's 17 years old, who was chased
18.
down. No, he was 17 when it happened.
Was.
Yeah, he was
being
17.
chased down by a child mapist, if you will, somebody that did heinous things to little children, chased him down. All these grown men pulling guns on him, beating him, smashing him in the face with a skateboard, and they crucify the child.
Yeah, they had the nerve to ask him why he was there. Well, why was the underage offender there?
Yeah, why was
screaming profanities and chasing the man down?
Mm-hmm.
Throwing a rock at him,
setting things on fire.
Exactly. They were trying to use him as an example to validate their, it was probably some kind of gun control thing. It was, making these people
their agenda.
Putting him, it's the agenda, the big A word. It's the agenda, and it's just sick and pathetic.
They're trying to make everyone out to be this innocent angel. I mean, there's still people to this day, based on another case that we had this year, right? There's these giant memorials, these murals to Mr. Floyd, and it's like, I'm sorry, but no matter what your thoughts are on that case or what you thought happened, anything like that, that is not at all something based in reality or truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the fact that they spent money to create statues of this person, I was like, look, I get it. It was a bad situation. The film looked terrible, but when the truth and the facts came out about it, that he died at the hospital of an overdose of fentanyl, I believe it was.
He was on fentanyl, yes.
Yeah, he was on fentanyl. It was 3 times the amount a human being should be on at all.
Yeah.
And
Well,
and then Crowder did great coverage of it by actually having someone actually be on him in the position that the cop was in, and showed, right, you can argue maybe that the actions with everything else going on had an impact. Okay, I'll give you that much, but to try and say that this is somehow, like the charges that they were able to actually get through was just, so I'm going to be interested to see what the appeals process looks like for that one, because
they will drag that out until people stop paying attention, and then it'll slowly
happen. I mean, you look at what they're doing in New York City. The BLM guys threatening riots and fire.
Yep.
Well, what a topsy-turvy world, Father, we live in, when there's statues to this individual, a very sad individual, a very tragic individual. They're making statues for him, but they're refusing to make statues for Mother Cabrini.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this thing that you just popped up, and I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine. So I told Gary when he posted it, it's like those glasses are a warning that he shouldn't be allowed near schoolyards.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing where it has become a generational practice, and it's been happening for decades, where the normalization of perversion is not for us as adults. It is to make it acceptable to the youth that grow up. Because the more that they're exposed to it and the more that they are told by authority figures it's normal, the more they start to believe it and think that it's okay. And then you see stuff like we talked about yesterday. I've got the pictures pulled up of the comic books where they start drawing the characters in ridiculously suggestive. I mean, it's covered up pornography is what it is. It's censored pornography, and it's just they keep pumping it out and creating
It's
a normal level of
range grooming.
I had to push this
grooming.
one too.
Yes, grooming.
I'm thinking of South Park right now.
Yeah, remember that one? That was an old episode.
The North
Poor
American
Gamble
Marlon
guys.
Brando lookalikes.
Yeah, as funny as South Park is, it is hilarious how actual in reality that show is soaked in. Like you watch those episodes, some people laugh. I watch those episodes and I go, "That was a heck of a lesson. That was a good teaching we just learned right there."
Well, remember, we're in a society where you see a Babylon Bee article and you're not sure if it's parody or not.
Well, I mean, they replaced the Onion. The Onion used to be fun.
Yeah.
Now it's just bitter.
Oh, yeah, it's just propaganda.
So,
I'm working on a share screen here for you if I can figure it out.
okay. Well, I
My
figured we'd
favorite
probably
So
go
this is
to
the,
the.
episode.
This is
Good, sir.
this is the DC covers I was telling you about yesterday.
Okay.
Let me know when you got it, and I'll scroll down for you.
I got it.
Okay, so DC is doing a series called Robins, which is all the different Robins are having conversations about what it's like to be Robin. They're doing a series of workout covers, and they have their explanations for why they do it. And the few I wanted to touch on, the first one here is Nightwing. Let me get this ad out of here.
Oh,
And I mean, this with an impossible partage, it's just there's not much going on here other than sexualization. So that's Dick Grayson. That's the original Robin, now Nightwing. And then they move on. It's all artist expression. So some artists are pretty good. This is supposed to be Jason Todd. He looks like he's leaving the gym.
What?
And then
where's the
this is
rainbow
the one that
thing?
concerns me the most. I don't see the rainbow thing. But this, it was marshmallows, and this is the picture right here. So this is Tim Drake. Now he is the new bisexual or gay Robin. Like he's the one who's come out of the closet in their comics. And in his bag behind him is a package of marshmallows. Now, we talked about the converts having walked through the dark valley. I know what that is. It's a sex thing. And that's them hinting at was. Well, you don't want to know. And it's a thing that hints at, it's like an inside joke to those people who participate in those kind of things. And it's like you are taking a comic book that, it targets, adults because we've been reading them for 30, 40 years, 50 years, but you're also marketing to everybody of all age groups. So now this is your little thing where, hey, look at this. And then you sneak it in there. And it's just that little bit of normalization that if you know what that is, or you say, hey, did you see that? What's that packet of marshmallows? And then somebody who knows tells you, and then you find out, and it's like, oh, that's terrible. And then this one is the dumbest one I've ever seen in my life. Anybody who's been to the gym knows, what is this? What is she doing? This is not a workout that I've ever seen anybody do. So
not unless you're a superhero. That's impossible. She'd break her neck, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Well, nobody does a workout with a barbell on their shoulders without a safety cage around them, and nobody sits in a chair. What exercise are you doing in a chair with a barbell full weight? So,
and also the way that you can see the image, it's made so that you see there's basically no pressure actually being put onto her at any point.
Yeah, there's two guys off camera holding the barbell up. So
yeah. Well, when you're seated like that, like what I do is you're holding those little hand weights, like doing the girly stuff because we're not as strong.
Right, I've been to the gym multiple times. This is nothing you would ever do ever. This is not an exercise. But that whole thing is just that is them hinting at things or putting their little dirty jokes in comic books that don't need to be there. And that was the biggest problem was, when it was all mostly heterosexual people in comic books, we didn't talk about their heterosexuality. We just had stories. But because the character is gay, they make it about that. And we all know why they do that, because they're trying to sell books. I mean, the sales for Son of Kal-El, which is when Superman came out, I've got that issue in my box. It comes out next week. It's a full page spread of him kissing his new boyfriend, or the guy he likes, because he is now bisexual at the very least. But they're going to be getting rid of the original Superman is going to either disappear or die. Ethan Van Sciver talked about this, and they're going to replace him with Kal-El, or Son of Kal-El, which is John Kent, and that is where that's eventually going to go.
Well,
I described.
sorry.
No, I described him yesterday as being like anorexic. Because I mean, if you see a picture of how he looks, it does not look like Superman.
No, he's very thin. He's got a very thin, attractive body, is what they've done. And then the other one I pulled up that Milo Manara picture, but I'm not going to put it up here, where he had Spider-Woman crawling down a wall. And anybody who knows comic books know that Milo Manara is famous for drawing naked women in his stories. That was how he built his fame with comic people. And she looks like her costume is painted on. So people had an outrage of that. It was years ago, and that was like a long time ago. But it was a 1 in 5. It was a 1 in 150 variant.
I remember that.
Yeah. You're supposed to buy 150 comics to get one copy of this cover, and they crucified him. They crucified Marvel. They said that is terrible. They ended up destroying Spider-Woman as a character. I mean, the next time you saw her, she was wearing a leather jacket and she was pregnant. Like, they did everything they could to make people feel okay to read Spider-Woman again. But then you have what we just saw with DC.
Yeah.
And
what makes this? Oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say what makes this also so insidious. I had no idea what that was. There might be other people that don't know what that is. So let's just say you have children, and you're seeing them reading that. I would have seen nothing absolutely wrong with that, and I think that that's part of also what is wrong. As parents or as parent figures, we try to kind of guard the children in our care, but if we don't know it, or if it's something that's so fringe, we don't see it until it's already arrived.
And that's why I look at my life, because I've been through the darkness. I've seen things that would curdle your skin. I mean, it's I know of its existence, and I'm not happy that I've had that life, but I appreciate the fact that I've seen the things I have, so that when I see those things, I can look at them and go, like my daughter, somebody at school told her a word that if I had not been through what I'd been through, I would not have known. And she was going to Google that, and I found her search history on her phone that she was Googling that word. And I said, you can't look that up. It's not only detrimental to your psyche as a child, because she was a teenager, she was in junior high. I said, you're going to ruin your own personal love life with whoever you marry, because you will see this if you continue to look at these things and continue to see them on a semi-daily basis. It becomes normalized, and you start to think that that's what love is. Then you start down this path of sexual perversion, which will destroy your life. Maybe not your actual life, but any kind of relationship you might have if you continue to take in that content.
Well, I think I mentioned yesterday on our stream, one of the questions I'm now to ask on the prenup questionnaire is whether there's a pornography addiction.
Yeah, that needs to come out
to be able to address that before the marriage.
Absolutely.
You cannot. That, I mean, some people think, go to strip clubs, or we look at this dirty magazine, or watch that anime that's questionable. You're not doing yourself any favors, and then they do it to your kids so they can normalize it, and it becomes that grooming. So that years from now, when those 40, 50-year-old gross people have reached their 80s, then they're looking at teenagers, and the teenagers like, yeah, I'm perfectly acceptable having a relationship with someone who's 70 years older than me, or whatever it is. So deep stuff.
Well,
that's why you don't give your kids phones at the age of 13.
I haven't even seen the Doom movie yet.
It's good. It's good. If you want to change, you know what? I was a huge fan of the original, and I actually looked at it from a standpoint there was the negative side of it for me was between the moment that the movie starts and the moment in the original and the new one where he meets his girl, they don't give us nearly as much information in the new movie that the original. I don't know if Odin, I think you were a fan of Dune, weren't you? Did you talk about that?
I like the movie. I found myself in the position though, because I was about a little less than halfway through the book. And so I had some book knowledge going in, and anyone who's ever seen any adaptation of a book, you always have issues in some way with the story. Yeah. So I loved everything about it, with my only real issue being with the story, with things being left out. So it's hard to say exactly, and also too because of where it leaves off in the story, and not having the completion of the story in the film. So I'm kind of withholding all judgment on the actual movie itself. It's not a bad movie at all. It's a very well done, well made film. It's got all of those great things. The story is just, again, from someone, if you read the book or have any knowledge of that source material, it might leave you wanting.
A little bit. The only thing that really turned me off about the film was the fact that they were pronouncing things differently.
I've read the book 5 times. I love the book.
So the inhabitants of Giddey Prime, how would you pronounce their name?
The Harkonnens?
See, you say Harkonnens.
The Harkonnens.
They should be Harkonnens because it's got 2 N's, and they were saying Harkonnen in the Dune movie, and I'm like, well, the original movie they kept saying Harkonnen, and if I know my English, 2 N's is Harkonnen, and then they kept saying the Padishah Emperor, they kept calling him the Padishah Emperor. And those were just weird things that were freaking me out the whole movie. Every time they said it, I was like, that doesn't work.
Well, I will say, because I don't remember the Emperor as far as the name in the audiobook, but in the audiobook, I believe they say Harkonnen as well. Well,
that's just weird for me.
Yeah.
That's my weird thing.
Yeah.
But all in all, the
shot on
cinematography
fourth,
was
right?
exactly. Sorry, go ahead, Father.
Is it shot on the 5th? Who I forget the emperor. What's his name?
Emperor Padishah the Fourth.
Oh, Padishah the
Padishah.
4th. Okay.
Padishah the Fourth. Yeah, but the movie itself was it was everything you would expect from that director who did the was it Blade Runner 2049?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Fantastic movie.
The cinematographer for the film is actually incredibly talented. He's done a lot of great films working with various directors, and one of my favorites that he has done is he did the film cinematography for the film Oblivion, which I know that not everyone's a fan of that film. Features Tom Cruise, but the visual effects and cinematography for that film are just gorgeous.
Well, now I'm going to watch it because I didn't bother because I've never been a fan of Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
I'm the weird
I've
guy.
never
but...
even seen it. So.
Is it the one where he keeps going back in time or something like that?
No, so it's one set in a dystopian future where it's two people left, and it's basically their job is to try and make sure that everything about like all the machines that are keeping things in order are being maintained essentially. And
they're the operations team basically.
Yeah,
on Earth.
like they're just trying to make sure that the Earth remains intact. It's almost like they're the Wall-E, but in human form, I guess you could say.
That's
trying to make sure things are all prim and proper.
That's what my wife does for a living. She's an operations manager for a major company, so she just makes sure that the air conditioners are running and everybody has bags for the stores. So I was like, but yeah, I remember seeing that movie and it was visually very beautiful. But you know, again, it was a slow paced movie.
Mm-hmm.
So we're coming up on the bottom of the hour. I figured we go about 90 today. So I know, Odin, you have your show tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 7 p.m. Eastern. So little guy, he'll be down at 6. So I'll have a little downtime before then. But yeah, come and join. Have some fun discussion. I don't know what the topic's going to be tonight, but I imagine we'll probably be looking at some of the box office for Eternals because it should be coming out pretty soon. What the updated box office estimates are for that film for the weekend.
So, does anybody want to see the view from my room? Does anybody want to see
yes, Father, do it.
No, I believe we told you to leave, Mr. Hawaii.
It. I want to see it, Father.
Hold on. Here we go.
Ocean view. Of course, most of it is in Hawaii, I suppose. That's gorgeous.
Oh, look at the waves.
My father and mother for their 25th anniversary went to Hawaii, and my dad's he was a drinker, not a drinker of alcohol, but he was a coffee guy, and he was a smoker. And my mother was going through menopause on this vacation, so they had a wonderful time when he was on the patch because he couldn't smoke on the plane. This was 25 years ago. But they went to Hawaii.
I won't say may you get food poisoning.
Yeah.
Father, he deserves a vacation.
We all do.
Just remember, he'll come back home and he won't have those views.
But is it vacation mandates I'm in favor of?
Yeah. So, but it's been fantastic. Like swimming with sharks yesterday was like a lifelong dream, and it was well worth it. So
that's cool.
I'm happy. Cool stuff.
My wife is afraid of fish, so God bless you for getting to go. And we went to an aquarium in Mall of America where they have the aquarium that goes above your head, and she ran through it and left me behind. She couldn't take it. So I don't think ocean activities are going to be in my future ever unless she's on the beach.
So, Miss Martin, do you have any streams coming up?
I'm usually on Sunday nights on Nina Infinity's channel for her Sunday hangs. I have the triple review coming up this Tuesday at 2 p.m. Central with my friends and guests, where we're going to be reviewing 3 Thanksgiving films.
There are Thanksgiving
films.
Good. Yes, there are Thanksgiving films. And then the Two Towers is on Saturday during this time when I'm not here with you, fantastic gentlemen.
So I might be going live tomorrow evening with the review of episode 3 of Doctor Who, if I can get through it. I'm still angry, as I've been telling.
I wanted to watch an Obi-Wan trailer yesterday, so.
No.
So mad.
I've been watching Doctor Who for 35 years. I'm
Yeah, I know.
a lot of pain, a lot of hurt. I'm hoping the regeneration is long and painful.
Aw. Well, we're praying for you, Father, on so many different levels.
Yes,
I hope
thank
you
you.
feel
So
better, bud.
I just want, well, I'm feeling fine. It's just, I got a little bit of pain. I don't know, like I said, if that's the OCD part or if it's just the start or something. So,
well, when you experience something awesome for years and then they take the awesome away, it's harder to enjoy.
well, this is not the awesome that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the potential illness I might have.
Oh, I think you'll be okay.
So I'll be
you
fine.
were-
I'm going to be fine. I'm going
You
to
grew
be
up in
fine. I feel
Solon. You've
fine.
caught everything and lived
Yes,
through it.
I know. I
Oh
know.
my goodness.
As I told the bishop, our hometown backwards is no loss.
No loss.
Oh my.
So,
Yep, and we breathe
So
those
with that-
breathe those dairy cow fumes in all our lives. So yeah, anything that was there, we got it.
so with that, I'm hitting the end button.